This story begins by showing us a little girl with wings who is badly injured. Through her tears, she resolves to become stronger, vowing to eradicate all injustice and inequality. We then leap several years into the future. Currently, that now grown-up little girl finds herself in the middle of a battlefield standing before the heroes of this story. It is here that we discover her name, for she calls herself, or is widely known as, the Conqueror Lufas Mafal. Combat begins swiftly. Lufas effortlessly knocks out the healer, then deflects the archer's arrows before engaging in a hand-to-hand battle with the bear, whom she swiftly defeats. Similarly, she catches the archer off guard, finishing him with a devastating rain of swords. Then the dwarf steps in, delivering a powerful blow that sends Lufas flying several meters. Just as the protagonist was about to finish him off, he activates the self-destruction of his artifact, triggering a massive explosion in the vicinity. Nevertheless, Lufas emerged completely unharmed. At that very instant, the hero appears, but the protagonist notices him and lands a powerful blow. But this was only a water clone made by the mage, and the true one then appeared right behind her. Lufas just smiles, letting on that she expected this, and just like that we see the hero get run through. However, Lufas didn't realize this was all part of the hero's plan, and so we see him utilize his climax ability, completely regenerating his entire body. Lufas tries to pull away, but the hero, gripping her hand firmly, doesn't permit it and instead pierces her with his sword. This is taken advantage of by the mage, who, utilizing a subspace sealing spell, manages to capture Lufas. With all the heroes watching her, she begins to laugh and exclaims that they are magnificent and it's possible that they could even defeat Orm the Demon King. And now, our protagonist, the player who controlled Lufas, looks at the comments about his defeat. Suddenly, Alabanus, the goddess of creation and creator of the world of X-Gate, appears on his screen. Given its importance and assuming it's a message directly from the game's developers, he agrees to take on the role. Immediately after, he finds himself transported to a different world. When he opens his eyes, he hears a group of people, but he also realizes his body feels a bit different. He looks in a mirror and notices he has Lufas's appearance. Confused and disoriented, he ponders if he's merely dreaming or has truly entered the game world. Looking up, he notices how the elf is terrified. Our protagonist was thinking of kindly asking a question. However, as he utters a single word, an overwhelming pressure fills the entire place and the people drop to the ground. Realizing he had mistakenly activated the intimidation skill, he then calms down. Everyone is bewildered, but that horrified elf declares without a doubt that the conqueror has just been brought back to life. Lufas approaches him and, looking him in the face, asks him to explain what's happening. Faced with such an intimidating gaze, the elf ends up fainting. With things more settled, the king explains everything. 200 years had passed since she was sealed away, and in an attempt to defeat the still-living Demon King, they tried to summon a hero using the X-Gate technique. Nevertheless, she appeared. As a devoted fan of the game, our protagonist ponders how remarkable it is that they implemented X-Gate, as it was primarily just a name. However, putting that aside, he observes the terrified expressions on people's faces. Consequently, he realizes he must quickly depart from that place. To calm them down, she tells them she doesn't intend to change the world, because even though they defeated her, she's happy with how that battle turned out. Besides, she's no longer Lufas, but a young woman with shattered dreams. Spreading her wings, she tells them that right now her wish is to see this world and appreciate it. Therefore, she asks them to forget her and continue trying to summon the hero. Having said that, she bids them farewell. Once outside, seeing the vast world, she gets excited and exclaims that now she can finally explore the world of X-Gate Online that she loves so much. While she was flying around, she wonders how she's going to get back to her original world. However, she quickly brushes it off, stating that she will deal with that concern at a later time. Just then, she sees a tower that rises above the clouds, so she heads there as her first destination. Our protagonist then elucidates that X-Gate Online is a fantasy game taking place within the perilous realm of Misgods. A crucial aspect of this game is its comprehensive war system, which orchestrates conflicts between humans and elves, further elaborating that various nations engage in combat, where the victorious nation has the prerogative to assimilate and integrate the defeated one. Another prominent characteristic is its novel system, where all player actions are diligently recorded, ultimately becoming an integral part of the game's official historical narrative. And because he tirelessly trained Lufas, he leveled up and spent a great deal of money to become one of the best players. In this way, for the first time ever, he succeeded in unifying Mistguards, additionally securing a prominent position within the system and ultimately evolving into a semi-official character. However, it's no fun when one player dominates the game. So, he discussed with other high-level players and they divided into two groups, Lufas's faction and the hero's faction, the Army of Light. They decided to declare war on each other, leading to the biggest battle in history, and they even forgot about the official boss. Now, back to the present. Lufus reaches the tower's summit, which is her base, the Celestial Tower Mafal. She opens the door and upon entering sees that everything is just as she left it, though a bit deteriorated. Feeling nostalgic, she sits on her old throne and thinks about the time she shared with her companions. Suddenly, a light blue-haired girl appears. Seeing our protagonist, the girl smiles, and as she approaches, she enthusiastically tells her that she's been waiting for 200 years. A confused Lufus asks who she is, which devastates the blue-haired girl, but she introduces herself anyway as Dina, her faithful advisor and servant. At that moment, Lufus remembers how, when she created the base, she placed an NPC in the game's tower, giving her a strange setting, something like Lufus's personal advisor. Our protagonist is left bewildered when she realizes an NPC has developed self-awareness and patiently awaited her return for all this time. She then ponders if this world truly isn't just within the game. But setting that aside for a moment, she apologizes to Dina and commends her for doing such a wonderful job protecting this place while she was away. Lufus explains what happened and how she came back to life. After that, she asks her to tell her everything that has happened during all this time. Dina begins by saying that the heroes who defeated her were nicknamed the 7 Heroes and each founded their own country. 4 died of natural causes, but the 3 most long-lived are still alive. This greatly intrigues our protagonist, who then ponders if they could be players just like him. Dina continues, saying the Demon King is still alive since he crushed the 7 heroes. Lufus inquires if there's anything further she ought to be informed of. Dina then informs her that the 12 celestial stars are doing fine. In response, Lufus clarifies that their formal designation is the Conqueror's 12, essentially consisting of 12 NPC monsters who accompany her. She recounts how she was fortunate enough to acquire rare and formidable monsters as companions, and she dubbed the most powerful of these companions the 12 Celestial Stars. She remembers a time when she believed every great leader had to have their 4 typical generals. Learning about them now, she inquires about their well-being. Dina replies that she knows where 6 of them are, as 2 joined the Demon King's army to get revenge on the humans who defeated her. Lufus is disappointed to see them resort to such measures, and therefore she asserts that she will reprimand them. With that, she decides her first goal will be to reunite the 12 Celestial Stars. She also thinks to herself that she'll take this chance to see if the 3 remaining heroes are players like her. Thus, Dina displays a map, pointing out that the closest celestial star, Ares, is located in Ezbel, the same place where Megris, one of the 7 heroes, also resides. Aware of this, Lufus extends her wings and gets ready to set off. Yet, Dina halts her, inquiring if she truly plans to go unprepared or if she possesses any funds at all. Lufus says no and asks Dina if she has any. Dina replies that she doesn't have any either, as she became impoverished waiting for Lufus for so long. Realizing they need to earn money, Dina mentions it would be difficult since everyone knows who Lufus is. Lufus responds by pointing out that 2 centuries have gone by, and since there are no photographs here, her appearance won't be recognized. Dina absolutely rejects this notion, stating that long-lived races, such as the elves, would indeed recall her. Furthermore, her wings draw unfavorable attention, as they are deemed an abomination among those who possess wings. With all that in mind, Lufus asks what their next move is, and Dina responds that there's only one path to earning money, a task where her history and true self won't be scrutinized, becoming an adventurer. And so, we see them in Idalir walking through the city with Lufus dressed suspiciously. Upon arriving at the guild, they look for decent jobs, and there she finds one for exterminating orcs. Lufus clarifies that upon defeating an enemy, there's a 3% likelihood of them dropping meat, which boosts your health, a classic method for grinding resources. Seeing the pay, they decide to take the mission, which brings them to Isle Village. They speak with the village chief, who explains the situation and begs them to get rid of those monsters. Dina and Lufus promise to handle the situation. They then venture into the forest and locate the orc's lair. Dina, disgusted by the monster's appearance, encourages Lufus to wipe them all out at once. Our protagonist agrees. She takes off her uncomfortable coat, spreads her wings, and gets ready to finish the mission. But first, she checks her stats and sees she's at the max level, just like in the game. Knowing this, she understands that everything will depend on her. With a snap of her fingers, she uses her transmutability, and we witness the earth transforming into swords. In an instant, she eliminates several orcs. However, more orcs emerge from their den, encircling her. A gigantic hand then materializes from the cave, revealing itself to be the orc chief. Lufus remains unfazed, and from her viewpoint, She observes that all the orcs attempting to attack her are moving extremely slowly. Disappointed, she begins to eliminate each of them, thus generating a shower of blood. When the orc chief sees that scene, he's left perplexed. At that moment, Lufus positions herself in front of him and begins to comment on how incredibly weak they are. She looks him over and asks if he didn't just witness what she had done. The orc chief, filled with utter despair, attacks her with everything he has, but seeing that she remains completely unscathed, he becomes petrified with fear and tries to retreat. As he does this, he accidentally knocks over a torch, causing the fire to spread. Overwhelmed by despair, he attempts to attack our protagonist. However, Lufus appears before him, teleporting right in front of his eyes, and explains that it's not that they are weak, but rather that she is simply too powerful. Meanwhile, when viewed from the orc chief's point of view, he perceives her as an enormous creature, a powerful deity on the verge of taking his life. In reality, Lufus gives him a light tap on the forehead with her fist. She mentions that this can't even be called a fight since it's not even fun, and just like that, the orc's head is destroyed in front of her. Lufus stares and says, "This is nothing more than a massacre." But hey, if you've made it this far, comment with the word game to let me know you reached the end. On the screen now are 2 videos as handsome as the person watching this one. See you next time, take care, drink water, take a shower, and bye bye.